How will people remember our history? We remember and honor this history, right? I'm coming to you from Northern Virginia, and I found this beautiful spot. This is a path that was used by the Confederate soldiers and the Union soldiers during the Civil War. There's this beautiful bridge that they were both racing to get to first for positioning, and as in their history, the Confederate Army held off the Union Army here with help from different infantries and divisions, but that's their history, right? And whether it actually happened like that, there are historical documents, but what was the truth, right? Why did this war need to happen? That, most people say, well, there's history to that too, but just like what's happening in our world now, and mind you, I don't watch the news, so I don't know a lot of what's going on, but I know that back then there were projections, right? They had to rally the people together for the cause, right? In order for it to succeed and to justify the war and to create, this history. So how does that relate to you on your spiritual path? That's interesting because we've all had a history, right? Some of us may not be so proud of our past histories, and that's okay. But here's an opportunity for you to start to create the history that you want, right? That your legacy will remember and be passed on to their generations. I'm not talking about personal, right? Because to some degree that's selfish. But I'm talking about what are we going to do now? Here's that beautiful bridge I was talking about. What can we do now to change the history, right? And not experience what others with hidden agendas or whatever is going on out there want us to experience, right? Or want to be written about this period in time, which we are a part of as these vessels, as these physical beings. What can we do to shift, right, the history books going forward for our children, their children's children, all across the world? How do we want this moment in time to be documented and remembered? And what can you do about it? Hello, welcome to another episode of A Few Minutes with Marvin. I inspire those who aspire to make positive changes in their lives. And as I've already stated in this video, this is about history, the future. Now, I know that, time is an illusion anyway, right? So is there a future, right? Everything's in the now, present moment. But in this present moment, our decisions matter, especially now, right? Because let's call it a war, if you resonate with the word war, but we are in a war, in a spiritual war in a sense of energies, right? And do we want those energies to be positive energies going forward, or do we want those energies to be lack, war, unrest, starvation, food shortages, homelessness? What do we want that history to look like? Those now moments, right? This is a time for us to really start thinking about these things and thinking about the choices that we are personally making, right? And how they're going to impact the next now moments for ourselves and for other beautiful souls. We often question, how can we be of service to others, right? This is a big one right here. What are you doing now to alter your history, to create a history that you want future souls to experience, right? Because we are experiencing, right now, I'm experiencing what other souls experienced here, in the 1700s, right? And we're in the 2020s right now. But we were told what the history was, right? There's that plaque up there that's telling us what the soldiers wore and the path here, and what the significance of it was to them in their now moment. Is this making sense to you? Right? You may say, well, I don't have any control over what the government does, what the corporations do, and the pharmaceutical companies, and all the people, all the talking heads, or the idols, or the movie stars are saying, I have no control over that. And you're right. You don't. Because they're controlling their own thoughts, and they're creating their own now moments. Now, if they're all collectively on the same agenda and creating the same now moment, we have to stand our ground and not against them, right? Not fight their energy, but to know that there is an energy there, and to choose not to participate in it, not to engage with it, not to give it our energy. That's what you can do to change history, right? And the next now moments for yourself and for your family. How does that look? What can you do? I said it in several videos. Turn off the television, turn off the news. Don't spend a lot of time distracting yourself with mindless TikTok videos and YouTube shorts. I know that's counter to what I'm doing. It's not counter to what I'm doing. I'm using this positive light, and that's what you can do too. If you choose to engage in those things, make sure that you're in alignment with what your soul wants, and that you've done the work within yourself energetically, vibrationally, not to allow whatever's being projected, the 5G towers and the microwave stuff, or the tunes, frequencies coming out of the televisions and these handheld devices, right? You have to intend not to allow those energies to cross your energetic boundaries. Yes, we are that powerful. We can do that. And the more you do it, the less power these energies have. Right? So then, in that moment, you are starting to create a new reality, a new history. And if you're in alignment with other souls that are doing the same, guess what's happening? Now, we're balancing those energies. So now it's not so much these energies over here that have allegedly all the control. No, they really don't. They have it because we are giving it to them. We, these beings that we are right now. Maybe not you specifically, maybe your neighbor, maybe your daughter, maybe your husband, maybe your father, maybe your cousin, maybe a distant relative, maybe your schoolmates, maybe your classmates, maybe your work friends, right? So how can you shift that? Quite simply, be who you are. Stand in your beliefs, not against anybody else, with absolute respect for where they are, but knowing full well that you don't need to participate in what they're participating in, right? You don't need to do what they're doing. You don't need to follow what anybody else says if it doesn't feel right to you, right? You don't need to be guilted or shamed into doing something, or judged into doing something that doesn't align with who you are. Changing your history is very simple. Change you. Become the unique you that you were designed and created to be, right? You are the creator now. How do you want to create a legacy, history? How would you like to take this experience forward for others to experience in their own unique ways, but of positive light? You have to be the light. You have to be the positive change. You got to be the high vibrational energy every time, wherever you are, right? When you're with others, instead of being inclined to go, oh, well, I normally would do this, but some people may not like it, so maybe I better not do it. And that could mean anything, you know, scratching yourself, you know, not to be vulgar. But in those moments when you're being yourself and you're aligned with you, right? It's not out of, look at me, you know, it's not ego, it's just, this is who you are. If you speak a certain way, if you're very spiritual and you speak to others and you're just talking to others and somebody else is snickering at you because, oh, you know, you're spiritual, who cares? Stand in it, own it. That's how you can change the history here. Or now, right? It's always now. So when you look at it from that perspective, what you're doing now is creating a history that somebody else is going to be experiencing it, right? Right? Like, this could be a negative energy right here, right? Because a lot of blood was shed here. Said it was during the Civil War, over like 1,500,000 horses died. That's just horses, right? So this history was created with a negative energy, from my perspective, right? And those beautiful souls that lost their lives probably had no idea, right? Had no idea why they were doing it, what they were doing it for. They were following the orders. And most of them believed it because through the propaganda. And I'm not saying it wasn't a good reason. That's not the point of this. I'm not taking a position on whether the Civil War was a good thing, was a bad thing, was created, should never have happened. I'm not taking that position here. That's not what this video is about. It's about my position here now, right? There's a history that people want us to remember about this place. They want us to remember the battles that were fought here, the courageous soldiers that lost their lives here. That's honorable, but I choose not to experience that, right? Because that's, for me, a lower vibrational energy. So what am I doing to change this history now? Not just making this video to hopefully inspire you to do the same, but I'm being me. I'll put a little clip of this now, but you know, I don't do it to show off, but I don't have fear. I just don't. And I don't allow fear to enter my now space. And when it does, I conquer it in the moment. I handle it. I take care of it. I allow it to be there. I see it. But I don't allow it to take my positive energy. Right? And how did I do that this time? You know me, I do my little planks every now and again. So I did a plank off of that, you know, very old bridge. And I didn't feel any fear or trepidation, but it was a little different feeling this time. You know, I as I was doing, over the side, I'm like, is this a good idea? But then it's like, yeah, it is a good idea. Because that thought in the moment was another energy saying, hey, you're afraid. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I just changed the history of this location for me and for anybody who else is in alignment with my energy about it. I don't have to look at this nostalgically as, oh my goodness, so many people died here. I can hold respect and love for those souls. And in fact, before I even entered this property, I paid respect to those souls. But I also energetically aligned myself with the source, creator, energy, supreme being, and asked that supreme being to open a portal of light so that if there were any souls that are still here, that are still replaying this history over and over and over in the non-physical, I asked that the supreme being open a portal for them to see the light and go back, right? And to start their new journey, whatever that means for them. So it's about respecting the souls. I'm not respecting the situation, right? Because for me, the situation probably should never have happened. But it did in that history. But going forward, that's not the history I'm projecting about it. I'm projecting nothing but beautiful souls that were here, lots, hundreds of thousands of souls that were here, and animals, millions, right, that were here and experienced what they were meant to experience. And if that's how they ended their journey here in this now moment, in that now moment, I honor them for that. They did their job. They experienced what they chose to experience, or they repeated an experience, right? And now they experience it again, and hopefully they were successful in their soul mission, and they went on, right, to their next experiences. And I could be one of those souls. So can you. Ever think of that? We could have been here. So this is just a video of explaining to you how you can shift what happens next, even though you may think you have no control over it. And no, if you're not a senator, or if you're not, a corporate leader or a world leader, or if you're not in that know, then no, you don't have any control over it, but you do have control over how you choose to experience it and how you choose to go forward from this day forward, from this now moment to the next now moment. And what legacy and what history are you creating? So if you're ready to create a new history, I encourage you to shift what you're doing. If you're in tune with low vibrational energies, start backing away from those. Take baby steps to get out of them, right? And if you need help with that, I am a spiritual transformation coach. Here's a link to my website. Give me a shout. I can help you see those things clearly. And then it's up to you to make the decisions if you still want to be in those energies, or if you do want to shift. And then you'll start creating your own history about this now moment. Doesn't have to be my moment either. So are you ready? Are you ready to shift your energies and shift the history of what this world will look like going forward, whether you're still here or not, but it'll be what others remember? If you are, be here now, be with me. You don't have to do what I do, but I'm hugging trees and thanking all the beings around me, physical and non-physical, for allowing me to be here now and allowing me to create a new history. So create a new history for you and for others that are in alignment with it, whether they be family members, children, friends, or just other souls that you've never met. That's how you can be of service. Don't allow history to repeat itself. It doesn't have to. Start creating your history now. If you like the contents of this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you thought of this, and where you are energetically. And if you need help, you know what to do. There's other people, it doesn't have to be me, but there are other people out there that can help you, get to your next level, your next frequency level, and stay there more often than not. So stay there more often than not. Create your own history and have an amazing day.